A few weeks ago I bought a bike rack from my T5 transporter van off of Facebook Marketplace, and I got a bit excited and I just fit it straight away. Then I realised that the things that hold the bikes in place don't do up or loosen. Well, one of them does, but it's meant to hold 4 bikes. So there's that issue, and also it's not black. So I decided I'm going to strip it down, I'm going to refurbish it, and I'm going to give it a lick of paint, and I thought I'd give you a few hopefully useful tips that I picked up whilst doing it. The first challenge was to take the plastic protectors that go on the end of the rails off, and they've got these teeth that sort of hold it in place, and I decided to go around the outside with a flat edge screwdriver and just sort of pry it off little by little, and that seemed to work. This is me setting up my spray booth. As you can see, you've seen a little bit of action. That's my crazy cat there, doing a couple of laps. Now, aluminium is actually quite hard to paint. Usually you need to key it up with some sandpaper or something like that. And I didn't really fancy doing that for the whole bike rack, so I'm using this etch primer, which has got acid in it, which sort of eats into the aluminium a little bit, and it should make it really hard to rub off. I also got this handle to go on the top of spray cans, so you can pretend you're a real paint shop professional. It actually just makes it a lot easier to spray cans, and it's not very easy to get on, but it's worth it once you do get it on. The etch primer seems to come out quite thick, and they recommend you hold it 20 to 30 centimeters away from the piece you're spraying, but that seemed to come out quite speckly, so ended up being about 10 to 15 centimeters away in the end. This is the finish you get, and I actually quite like it, but I'd already bought the base coat by this point. Primer didn't seem to last very long either. It took a whole can just to do the rails, but it was both sides of the rails. Now to take the next part of the bike rack off. This is the bit that folds down and holds the rails in place. Oops, something just went shooting off there. You can see from this point that I decided to hold the primer can a little bit closer to the bit that I'm spraying. I was getting better results, but the speckliness that I was getting before could be due to the fact that I was spraying outside maybe? For the base coat I was using Simoners Acrylic Satin Black. I'd used Simoners before, or however you say it, and it seemed to work pretty well, so stick to what you know, worked a treat. For a comparison, this is the primer with the speckliness, and then this is the base coat, which is a really nice finish. Now it's time to take the main frame off. I'd already sprayed the primer and the base coat on the rest of the bike rack by this point. I was just waiting for more primer to arrive. Right, so I thought I'd explain how the bike rack actually works. So the idea is you slot the wheels into those sections over there, and then this holds the bike's frame, and you unwind this and it opens up the jaws, as you can see there, and then you tighten it up and it closes the jaws, and this knob on the end rotates on a threaded bar in there, and on the end of it there's a dome washer to stop the threaded bar from spinning around. Right, I know that this is called a dome nut, but for some reason I keep calling it dome washer, so please excuse me. And this is one I've already fixed because this one was already working and it was relatively easy to fix. I've put a stainless steel threaded bar in there now, whereas before it's just normal mild steel. This one is an old one, and as you can see, it's fully rusted. So that doesn't tighten up or loosen anymore. This one's the one that has the lock in the end of it, and this is the only one that has a lock on the end of it at the moment. And as you can see on the end there, if I spin around the handle, it just keeps spinning around, and that is fully seized on there. I've tried using WD-40 and getting it off with some mole grips, and it just does not want to come off. So the idea is I'm going to take these apart. This one I'm going to have to chop off. I've admit defeat with that now. I was going to try and reuse the handles. I've got the stainless steel threaded bar, got this stainless steel dome washer, dome nut, which is going to go on the end, and then I've just invested in some new 2-lay lockable knobs. They're 527 if you want to look them up, and there's 4 of them in there now, so I haven't just got the one, I've got 4. That's going to go on the end of there, and then I'll just reuse this tube. Yeah, gonna work like a brand new one. Now I'm cutting off the old broken bits with my hacksaw, and the spray paint has arrived. The primer has arrived. For the rest of the bike rack, I took the plastic bits off, but for this section, A lot of it was riveted on, and I didn't fancy drilling out the rivets and re-riveting it, so I just left them and I spray painted them, and it actually worked out fine. I think I was half expecting the acid in the primer to melt the plastic away or something, but it was fine. This is the most fun part of it, is putting the thing back together again. I probably should have taken some pictures before I took it apart though, because I couldn't really remember how it went back together. This must have been my 4th attempt of doing it. This is the bit I'm most excited about, the new Thule or Thule, whatever, lockable knobs. They're really nice, and now I've got 4 of them as well, extra secure. They're on an M8 thread, if you're wondering. It's weirdly hard to find that information out. I wasn't going to speed this assembly up, but it was actually really hard to put this back together. There's 4 rubber washers, I suppose you'd call them, on each side of the bike rack. 3 are one size and then there's 1 large one, and it's really hard to get them back in there again. There's not actually a lot of give in the frame, and you can't really pry it apart with anything metal because you risk scratching the new paintwork. Still, as you're about to see, I went in there with my trusty flat bladed big screwdriver with a bit of masking tape on the end and managed to pry it apart a little bit without damaging it, but it was risky. Look at that, doesn't that look lush? Something's still not quite right there. There we go, black badge.